I'm on my way to Home Depot and Lowe's. It's supposed to get up to about 113 today. It's only about 99 degrees right now, so hopefully I can get there and back before it gets too hot. Some of our flowers that we bought for the pots in the backyard, they've completely died, so I'm going to see if I can get some other flowers if they still have any of the lantana. And I think I'll try planting them in the ground. We do have like a little flower bed along the back, and I think since the pots, or maybe they just probably get too hot, it probably kills the roots, I'm guessing. I'm gonna try planting them in the ground. They're just flowers, so the roots shouldn't be too bad and shouldn't cause any damage, which is the reason I took out the oleanders, which were gigantic bushes. And Jim wanted me to pick up a chlorinator for our pool. It's one that we have, it floats. It's a small little device that floats in the pool, and you put your chlorine tablets, and then they're just released slowly, throughout the week. The one we have now is just really thrashed, and so it's definitely time for a new one. The top is made of sort of rubber, and in the sun, in the water, in the wind, and the dirt, the rubber has just gotten really gross, and it's got some kind of a film on it, so when you try to open it up, you just get something really sticky all over your hands. So I'm going to see if I can find one. Time to turn on the air conditioning and head out.
Jim will be happy to know that they do have them here at Lowe's, and they're only like $12. I mean, that's a bargain. And they're all plastic. There's no rubber to melt and get slimy and sticky in the sun like the one we have right now. The one in our pool right now is only about 6 months to a year old, but it looks like we've had it for 10 years. This one should last a lot longer. I love sunflowers, and these are really beautiful, and I wish we could get them. But they're notorious for attracting bees, and we already have a bee problem in our backyard. Otherwise, these would be kind of perfect.
Well, I stopped at Lowe's first, and as you can see, the temps are rising fast, and I'm already really hot and sweaty. I'm going to have to jump at the pool as soon as I get home. They didn't have any lantana. Well, they didn't have any yellow or purple lantana, so I'm going to go across the street to Home Depot and see if maybe they do. Last time, Lowe's had much more lantana than Home Depot, so I'm guessing they probably won't have it either, but it's right across the street. It's right on the way home, so can't hurt to pop in real fast and see. Fingers crossed I can find lantana at Home Depot. I mean, this is the middle of summer. It's probably not the best time of year to plant anything, but they are going into the ground, so hopefully that helps a little bit. Well, I'm just going to get a few just to test to make sure these don't die as well.
In early spring, both Home Depot and Lowe's carried lots of the bright golden yellow lantana that I'm looking for, but now in the summer, the middle of summer, they seem to have just about every color here except for the bright golden yellow that I'm looking for. They do have some of these that I've never seen before. It's sort of a mixture of a light yellow and white, and then they've got pink and lavender and red mixed together, but no golden yellow. But I did want to get a couple of lavender lantanas, so it's not a totally wasted trip. Pretty frustrating though, that they seem to have every color.
But no yellow, no kind of golden yellow. I think they probably there were some empty spaces there, so I have a feeling they were probably the first to go. It's a very popular color because it's so bright, and it's the only, of all the lantana flowers, it's the only one that really gets lots of flowers and really large flowers, and they're very, very vibrant. The lavender's nice, but they're a little bit on the smaller side, and they just don't bloom as much as the yellow gold. So, I'm going to head home, and I'm definitely going to have to jump in the pool. It's so hot. You can probably tell how red I am, and I'm sure it's at least 110 by now. So, next stop, the swimming pool. I've only been out in the backyard for maybe 10 minutes, transferring the chlorine from the old chlorinator to the new one, and using the skimmer to get out some of the leaves. And look at my eyes, they're already I'm sweating so much. All the sweat, the salty sweat is going in my eyes. Now my eyes are stinking and red, more red than usual, which is hard to do since they're always pretty red. So before I pass out, I'm going to go jump in the pool.
Well, I set up my camera so you could all join me for a swim, but in this extreme heat, both of my cameras, my iPhone and my Sony vlogging camera, both said no way and shut themselves off. I guess my cameras are smarter than me. They definitely don't do well in the heat. I think it's the batteries that shut down when the temperatures outside get pretty hot. I did manage to get a little bit of footage though before they shut down. The lavender lantana has done okay, and I think it's maybe because they're in larger pots. This is one of the lavender plants that I bought, and it's still half alive. The one on the other side of the yard, that I think maybe gets a little bit more shade is just fine. And even though there are no flowers right now, this is one of the yellow lantana, and it's still alive, but it is in a larger pot than the yellow lantanas that died, like this one here. This pot's a lot shallower. Same with this one. This one completely died. So I planted it in the ground here, as you can see, but I think it's probably already completely dead. The bougainvilleas seem to be doing okay in the pots. They're not dying, but they're not really growing very large either. This is another one of the yellow lantana in the shallow pot, and there's still a few leaves alive. I think this one is probably completely dead as well. So these are the yellow lantana that I wanted to replace. Lantana do extremely well in the desert heat. And I've been watering them just about every day since they were planted, so it's not that they're not getting enough water. I think it's just the pots. They're a desert plant, and they've done well in our yards before, but we always had them planted in the ground. These are in pots, and this one is hanging on for dear life, and it's in one of the larger pots. I'm going to take this plant and replant it in the front yard and plant one of the lavender lantanas that I just got in this larger pot. As you can see, this one here is doing just fine. So I think it's just the smaller, shallower pots that are causing the problem. This bougainvillea here was almost stripped of its leaves from, I think, our grasshoppers. We seem to have a lot of grasshoppers here in the yard, and they love these bougainvillea, but the bougainvillea are very hardy, and the leaves seem to be coming back. And here's the other lavender plant, which is doing just fine. And all of the potted plants have received the same amount of water, but this is one of the larger pots. After cooling down from my swim yesterday, I decided to wait until this morning when it was a lot cooler to plant the lavender lantana that I bought yesterday. The sun is just starting to come up now, and it's already 90 degrees. But it's still mostly shady, so I want to get the plants in the pots before the sun comes out. Hopefully they'll do as well as this one here. And as I mentioned, I'm going to move these aloe vera plants to the front yard and plant them in the ground, so I can use this larger pot for the new purple lantana. And it definitely looks a lot better in this space anyway. And I removed the lavender plant that completely died, or just about completely died, on this side of the yard, and I'm using the pot now for this lavender lantana. I really like these better anyway, since they bloom almost year-round. And hopefully before the end of summer I can find some of the yellow lantana to replace the ones that died. They should grow really well in the winter, so I'd like to get them in before the season arrives. In addition to it being really hot out this morning, it's already over 90 degrees. It's also pretty smoky. There are 2 or 3 really big fires in Southern California, and the smoke is drifting down this direction. So that's why I only went for a short walk this morning. So if my eyes seem extra red this morning, it's from the smoke and from the sweat dripping down into my eyes, the salty sweat stinging my eyes. I've been out here working in the yard for a couple of hours now. The sun is still just coming up. It's still pretty early, but I wanted to get the plants planted and relocated, and we'll see how they do. I'm guessing it's probably not the best thing to plant or replant plants in the middle of summer when it's 110 degrees. But they did have the plants. They did have a lot of lantana. I'm guessing if it was off season, they wouldn't have any plants. They wouldn't have any lantana, and especially so many. The pool is 80 degrees this morning, which is fantastic. That's the perfect temperature. It still feels really cold when you first get in. It feels like it's around 60 or 70, so it's really refreshing. And it really can cool you down. I'm sure my body temperature was really hot after working out here for the last couple of hours and at almost 90 degrees. So getting in the pool really cooled me down. And for those of you who are concerned that I'm not drinking enough water, and I appreciate your concern, and you always leave lots of comments about making sure I drink lots of water, I definitely have been drinking a ton of water this morning, and electrolytes. This is my favorite time of day here in the desert. You can kind of see the mountains look pretty hazy. That's the smoke from the fires. But at this time of day, it's nice and shady here.
on this side of the patio, and it's pretty sunny over by the house. Now I have a place to sit, either at this table here or that table there, in the mornings after I do my walk and go swimming. So try to stay cool, everybody, and we'll see you next time.